Kodak Black is crying out for help, and this time, it's hitting different. The man who once bragged about beating the odds is now begging his fans to save him from himself. From viral live stream slip-ups to barely there interviews and wild on-camera moments that had fans sound straight up alarmed, it's clear something deeper is going on. His addiction spiral is no longer just rumors. It's playing out right in front of our eyes. And the question now isn't if Kodak needs help, it's whether it'll come before it's too late. So Kodak just came out and basically said what a lot of us were already scared to admit: he's spiraling for real. Like the addiction, it's not just rumors anymore. He straight up confessed that he's losing control of everything. His career, his health, his life.
That child ain't no shame in my man, bro. I was taking, bro, at least 100 perks. But my average was 40 Percocets, bro.
Now let's not act brand new. We know Kodak for being raw, unfiltered, and making bangers out of the pain he's been through. He's had some serious highs, chart-topping hits, sold-out shows, and a lot of influence in the culture. But the lows are hell low, from messy legal issues to jail time to the very public struggles with substance use. It's been a lot. And then there was Rolling Loud, You All. That performance was hard to watch. He came out looking totally out of it, stumbling, disoriented, even bumping into his own dancers. The crowd was shook, people were confused, and of course the clips started going viral immediately. But here's the thing, we've seen this pattern before with Kodak. What makes this time different is how bad it looked and how alone he seemed. Folks are really starting to ask, where's his team? Where's his people? And why does it feel like nobody's stepping in to help him before it's too late? And just when you thought Kodak's story couldn't get any messier, boom, more chaos. His legal drama? It's been non-stop, and we're not talking petty charges either. This man has been running in and out of the system since the moment he stepped into the spotlight. Remember that early case? Kodak was facing some serious R charges, those. According to AP News, Kodak ended up pleading guilty to first-degree charges and took a plea deal. No prison time, just probation. Let's be real, the damage was already done. The industry wasn't trying to be associated with him after that. People pulled away, endorsements disappeared, and you could tell it messed with him mentally. And it didn't stop there. Every time his name was trending, it was tied to something wild. Like in 2018, Kodak got slapped with 7 charges. Yes, 7. We're talking grand theft of a weapon, possession with a prior record, probation, just a whole hot mess. It was looking like he was about to be locked up and forgotten. But then, just 7 months later, he was out. TMZ was all over it. Originally, he was facing up to 12 years, but somehow the charges just started disappearing like magic, and his sentence got cut way down. Folks were like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe he's finally gonna chill and focus on the music. But nope, Kodak said, hold my drink. In 2019, he jumped right back into trouble, this time with federal weapons charges. He got hit with 46 months in prison after pleading guilty. Everybody thought that was the one that was finally going to humble him. Then came the plot twist of the century. On January 20th, Kodak got a presidential pardon from none other than Donald Trump. Like, out of nowhere, he was just free. No explanation, just poof, released. The internet lost its mind.
This morning, ahead of leaving the White House, President Trump has issued his final list of presidential pardons and commutations. In all, there are 73 pardons and 70 sentences commuted. The most notable name is former campaign advisor Steve Bannon, who pleaded not guilty to defrauding donors in a We Built the Wall fundraiser. Other notable names on the list include rappers Lil Wayne and Kodak Black, and the former mayor of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick.
After Kodak got that surprise get-out-of-jail-free card from Trump, things actually started looking different. He came out looking healthier, more clear-headed, like he was really trying to leave the drama behind. People were saying, okay, maybe he's done with the wild and out. It was giving fresh start, new chapter, all that good stuff. But sadly, it didn't take long before he was back in the headlines, and not for the music. In 2022, cops pulled him over for something super basic, a window tint violation. Sounds minor, right? But then they searched his car and found something they weren't feeling. Now here's where it gets messy. This wasn't long after he had been shot in the leg at a party, and Kodak claimed the meds they found were prescribed to him. He was like, listen, I'm in pain. I've got a real prescription. This ain't street stuff. But you all already know how it goes. When your name's been tied to trouble for years, people don't give you the benefit of the doubt. Even though Kodak came out later and tried to explain the whole thing, it was clear his struggles were still very much ongoing. He said so many times that he wants to change, that he wants to move different. But every little step forward seems to come with 2 big steps back. At one point, he even said he wanted to open a CBD shop, you all. Yup, he was talking about helping people find natural alternatives, using his own journey to make a positive impact, and it sounded real. It really did seem like he was trying to turn pain into purpose. But if there's one thing we've learned when it comes to Kodak, plans don't always play out the way you hope. His path has been anything but predictable. So boom, not long after folks thought Kodak might finally be getting it together, bam! News broke that he was rushed to the hospital. And you all already know what people started whispering. Allegedly, it might have been an OD. That's what several outlets were hinting at, and the internet went into full panic mode. Then just a few days later, not weeks, days, Kodak hopped on Instagram Live, and in the middle of talking to his fans, this man fell asleep, like mid-sentence. Now some folks tried to play it cool, like, oh, he's probably just tired. But let's be real, if you've been watching his behavior lately, you already knew something deeper was going on. And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, let's talk about that Drink Champs interview. Ooh, that was hard to sit through. Kodak looked like he was barely there. He was slurring, couldn't keep up with the conversation, and just seemed totally disconnected. Fans were sounding the alarm loud after that one. But hold on, it doesn't stop there. Just when people were still trying to process that chaotic interview, Kodak popped up on Kai Sent's subathon stream, and whew, it was not the comeback he needed. Now Kai's stream had been full of big fun moments, but Kodak's appearance, it was a total vibe killer. He was slow, dazed, barely engaging, and at one point, he forgot Kai's name. Like, huh? And that little freestyle he tried to drop, it was not giving. The flow was off, the bars weren't bearing, and the chat was dragging him left and right. It was just sad to watch.
She said she want to suck for me. I said, no, I don't want it. I don't want sex. I don't want sex. She said she want to suck for me. I said, no, I don't want it. I'm just waiting for the bus. I didn't want sex. I don't want sex. She said she want to suck for me. I said, no, I don't want that. I don't want it.
But here's the twist. After all that, Kodak started talking like he was really turning a new leaf. He went online saying he was focused now, on the straight and narrow, claiming he never thought he'd make it this far. He talked about self-control, fighting his demons. It was giving redemption arc, and people were rooting for him. But when the plot twisted fast, just a few weeks later, Kodak popped up again, looking like he was under the influence again, and this time, he wasn't trying to explain anything. He was snapping on fans, coming at the same people who were literally just praising him for getting clean. The switch up had folks like, okay, what is really going on with Kodak? And here comes the latest drama with Yak, and this was a moment nobody saw coming. Kodak had folks shook after a video went viral of him just casually sitting cross-legged in the middle of the street in Atlanta, eating chicken wings. Like, not on a bench, not on a porch, literally on the pavement, cars passing by, wings in hand, vibe completely off. Naturally, fans were immediately like, is he okay? Because the whole thing looked a little too out there, even for Kodak. Now, of course, the internet did its thing, and the theories started flying. People thought it was another drug episode, some were calling it a breakdown, and others were just plain worried. But then, plot twist, Kodak's lawyer came forward and was like, hold up, y'all got it twisted. He was filming some B-roll for a music video. This is art, not addiction. Okay then. And just when it couldn't get any messier, guess who chimed in? Kanye West. Yep, Mr. Donda himself hopped online talking about he's concerned for Kodak and was planning to fly to Atlanta to check in on him personally.
I've seen this video of my brother Kodak and I feel a call, and he's actually wearing this Donda chain. And it's not just because he's wearing a chain, but it's like how he's sitting here wearing this chain unless something's saying to go and get my brother. And I thought about it before. I was like, man, I should go down to Miami. Maybe I could be the person that could make a difference.
Now, I've seen this video. He even told people in the area to look out for Kodak until he got there. Kanye claimed the moment felt like a sign, especially since Kodak was wearing a Donda chain in the video. So now the streets are whispering about a possible collab too. Now, while some folks brush the whole thing off as classic Kodak antics or a calculated PR stunt, Others are still raising red flags about his mental state, especially considering his history with addiction. He said in the past that he's trying to stay clean, but moments like this keep people questioning what's really going on behind the scenes. At the end of the day, this whole chicken wing cross-legged in the street situation just adds to Kodak's unpredictable persona. Whether it was misunderstood art or a legit cry for help, it's got the internet talking and Kanye watching. People had all sorts of comments for Yak and the fact that he's been going through it all these years. Some have sympathy for the dude, but others firmly believe that he's got nobody to blame other than himself. One comment wrote, "Some people just need genuine support. This clearly is someone who lost trust in everyone, including himself." And another person said, "His downfall was his own fault. He's given multiple chances to change, yet never did. He did it to himself." You can say what you want about Yak, but one thing is clear. Something deeper is going on. But what do you think? Is Kodak crying out for help or just misunderstood again? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it, because this convo is far from over.